Keep my hands on myself. Pick up just a more, put them back on the shelf. Kiss my little baby girl, is it me? Am I coming out left beat? Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. I've been feeling it since 1966 now. Might be over now, but I feel it still. Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now.
Is there kids in the pool again? How dare they? Seriously? So I had to come up here 57 stories. Took me 7 minutes and 8 seconds to come up. And of course, I also have to go down, which apparently yesterday took me a little over 7 minutes. I wasn't racing or anything, but I came up faster than I went down. Coming up, I started running. By the time I got all the way up, I was definitely way out of breath and exhausted. And some of these stairs levels are double. I just went down a long way and I'm still only at 55. So people are often curious about how I got across borders. So people are often curious about how I cross borders on the bicycle. It depends on the border, but the one to get over from Malaysia to Singapore and Singapore to Malaysia, I simply just get in the motorcycle lane. And that's what I just did, and there was 0 lineups for a Friday of Hari Raya. I was surprised because I heard there was going to be backups and like crazy lineups, but that was that. I left Singapore after 30 days and now I'm in Malaysia just to wait for 5 days before I can go back into Singapore, get my Indonesian visa, come back to Malaysia, and then kayak over to Indonesia to Sumatra. Simple, easy peasy. What's up? Yeah. There's Sunshine and Rolo. They really want to come with me, but they don't get to. Been staying with them for the past few days, and I'm about to head out of Malaysia and back into Singapore. So I left Singapore because my month was up there and I needed to come into Malaysia for a few days, and then I can go back to Singapore in order to get my Indonesian visa, and then I'm gonna have to come back to Malaysia in order to kayak over to Indonesia. It's a light rain, which I think is gonna make for a really pleasant cycling. Probably get a little bit wet, but it should be nice. So I'm back in Singapore staying with this awesome couple that I met through a cycling community called Warm Showers. It's basically people who host other cyclists who are traveling around on bikes. I needed to get my visa for Indonesia so that I can then head back to Malaysia, get on a kayak that another adventurer here in Singapore is lending me, which is amazing. And I'm gonna kayak short island hops, about 2 to 3 hour island hops of maybe 10 to 25 kilometers. And I have about 10 of those or so, and then I get to Sumatra Island, and then I have to paddle up a river in order to get to where hopefully I'm going to be able to get my bicycle shipped to. And then I'll be on Sumatra, and I bicycle about 1,000 kilometers to a small little town where I'm going to stay put for a while and do a bunch of video editing and share some awesome stories with you. Thank you. Peace. Just biking along here. Just got into Malaysia from Singapore. Oh boy. Wow. That guy would do some damage. Look at his fangs. Man. I believe that is a Malaysian pit viper. Quite deadly. Killed somebody recently. But it ain't gonna kill me. And Legoland is right over there. And I'm almost at Todd's place where I'm gonna spend the night. Just gotta go up around the corner there. Check out, I got some new bike shoes for the first time of Asia. Some new brake pads. Got a new drivetrain for the bike too. Woo, yeah. And I'm gonna throw it in a box and hopefully it gets over to Indonesia. It's on its way to Sumatra, Indonesia. Hopefully it gets there safe and sound. Thankfully guys here put a bunch of fragile stickers on it. I think it should be good. First leg of the kayak to Indonesia is getting the bicycle over there. Paid some guys to pack it for me, which is probably a waste of money because I'm sure they did a worse job than I would have done, but I'm hoping that they did a better job. They did wrap it a bit okay, but they just didn't secure the box that well, so I'm not stoked on that. It did only cost me $20, but here that's a lot of money. Shipping it, however, costs about $120, which is well worth it in order to get a good bicycle for me when I arrive on the other side over in Sumatra. The funny thing is that it's insured up to $100, and I put the value of my bicycle and everything at about $1,000. The insurance would cover the cost of the shipping. That's a good thing, I guess. I think it's gonna make it there. I think I might be missing something when I get there, but I think it's gonna make it. I sure hope it's gonna make it. That would be really bad if it didn't make it. I'll figure something out. I just left Todd and Hazel and Sansa and Lucas's place here in Malaysia. Who are you talking to?
I don't know.
You texting to a friend? And I've got about a 7.8 kilometer walk down to my kayak, which thankfully it's a pretty nice sunny day, as you can see. It's about 8:30 in the morning. Bit of a later start than I had hoped because it's already heating up. Just gonna make the walk a little bit hotter, but in a way I sort of wanted it to get a bit warmer because I need to fix the underside of the kayak. It's got a big dent in it and I'm not really in a rush. I'm not trying to go too far today. I still don't know if I'm going to be able to clear immigration. I've heard that you can't do it at the ferry terminal where I'm at, even though it's an international ferry terminal, but they're just used to clearing out yachts, not kayaks. I have a feeling it's just because they never tried to do this, so hopefully they're gonna let me do it. If not, I'm gonna have to kayak, hopefully to this other ferry terminal. A big problem, as is mostly a problem, the people who have the call say no first, are not willing to change their mind or open their mind or think outside the box, or they know that it's quite dangerous and they don't want to be held responsible for allowing somebody to leave their country in a kayak. So we'll see what happens. If they don't let me out there, then it might be a long paddle right through the middle of Johor Bahru, which is the city that borders Singapore and border. So I'd have to be more concerned about Coast Guard and customs officials stopping me. Plus I would have to pull the boat out of the water and portage it through the city. Thankfully I wouldn't actually have to portage per se on the shoulders. Awkward in a kayak to begin with, but I do have wheels for the kayak, so I'd be able to wheel it through the city. It'd still be a bit of a pain in the butt. Not easy to do. So yeah, the kayak journey to Indonesia has begun from Malaysia to Sumatra. I've got about a 300 kilometer paddle ahead of me. Could be upwards of 500 if I don't clear out in the place that I hope to clear out at. Here we go. This is not all the stuff I have. Already brought some stuff down to the kayak yesterday when I had a bicycle. It's a lot easier because I'm okay walking. This area of Malaysia is very interesting. There's tons of construction, tons of housing, tons of infrastructure, and very few people. It sort of seems like either they misjudged the amount of a boom they were going to have and the amount of people who wanted to live here, or there's just a hell of a lot of corruption going on. And I think it might be a bit of both. So I was told that I wasn't going to be able to clear out of this marina or this harbor in a kayak because I have no papers or registration, and that's the only way these agents do it. So instead of paying them $20 to clear me out, which they would not do because they said it was impossible, I just walked over to the ferry terminal where they do their stuff, walked in, asked for immigration, and they stamped my passport. They were curious at first, asked me a couple questions. I showed them the paper from my government to ease their concerns, showing them that I was indeed kayaking to Indonesia and that I had the support of my member of parliament. Thanks, Gord Johns. Came through for me, I think. Maybe. I'm not sure. I think he was going to let me go either way. It was pretty easy. I guess it was a quiet time and I got the right immigration guy because no bribe necessary. It was just a pretty straightforward stamp. I sat in his office for couple minutes. We took fingerprints with the electrical scanner. My index finger. I think Singapore takes thumbs, but Malaysia took index. I'm good to go. There's a few yachts here, a few kayaks, even a canoe. And this is my boat here. It is a Eco Bezig 540, designed by John Daub, the legendary John Daub. Yeah, it's 5.4 meters long. Pretty standard looking sea kayak, actually. There's some things that I would say are a bit weak on the design, and that would be mostly these. They seem like they're definitely a weak spot where they could let in water. But I do like the little pocket in front here to put some easy to access gear, and also this one behind me. And these are all individually sealed compartments, so that's pretty good. And there goes the guy grinding. I'm gonna paddle out there and head towards Indonesia.
We could find a wall for peace.